guys, it's Pinkstar and welcome back to another video, or if you're new, welcome. This is going to be my January wrap-up video. So this is all the books that I read in January. I managed to read all 6 books, so that was good, even though the last book did run a couple of days into February. It is the beginning of February now, and I've only just finished that, so yeah, but it is what it is. It's not too bad. So I did read 2 physical books. I read 3 books on my Kindle and 1 audiobook. I had 1 reread and I had a 5-star read and I had a DNF. So yeah, we had all spectrums covered for January. Anyway, let's get on with the wrap up. So the first book that I read in January was an ARC book, and it was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This was such a cute book. I loved this. It was just like a really cutesy, cozy, kind of wintry even. Like, it would have been good if I read this in winter. It's summer here, so would have been better in winter. But it is so cute. I absolutely loved this. It had a bit of an adventure. I love the main character. I love the love interest. He was fun. There's really cute like animal companions and fairies, and it was just a good time. I really enjoyed this book. So it follows this lady called Emily, and she is pretty much this person that spent most of her life researching fairies and fae and everything like that, and yeah, she's all about the research and the knowledge and finding out everything that she can, and like she wants to publish this encyclopedia of fairies, pretty much, of everything that she's learnt throughout the years, of all the different fae folk all over the world. It's written as like journal entries by Emily, and I think that is really well done. It was an interesting concept. Like, I've never read anything where it's like a journal entry for each chapter sort of thing, and following, you know, what she did. So it is a lot more like personal, I feel, with it being like a journal. I don't know. It was really well done. I really enjoyed it. I gave this a 4.5-star rating. I would have liked a little bit more build up to the romance, because it was just like, bam, okay. When you read it, you know. I don't want to spoil too much. And there was a couple little bits that were a bit odd, but otherwise I really enjoyed it. I like that it felt like this could be real. Like, it could be, like, faith could be real in the world. That's kind of how it felt, the way she wrote it, and it ties in a lot with folklore and things around fairies. It was really well done. I enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend reading this book. Alright, the second book I read was Heart of the Sun Warrior, which is the second book and final book in the duology for Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I really enjoyed Daughter of the Moon Goddess, though it did have some flaws. I loved the way it was written. This one still has the same descriptive writing style, which I really liked. I do like the way it was written, but I just felt like this book was unnecessary. I would have preferred if they just expanded on the first book and made the first book longer and just expanded on that story, because this is like kind of a whole nother story, and the main character kind of annoyed me more in this one, especially because the first one obviously explores the fact that she likes 2 different men, and they're like pretty much both like her, so she's in 2 different relationships, and then at the end she's with one and not the other. And then in this one, the other one kind of comes back into her life, and there's back and forward, and she can't decide how she feels about either of them, and it's just got a little bit old. As I said, I enjoy the way it's written. It's like, the descriptions are so beautiful, and it just feels like a really amazing world to be in. But I just felt like this was unnecessary and didn't add anything to the first book. First book, definitely you could just read and then just end it there. You don't need to read this. I did still give it 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty. If you want to read something, it's just like a pretty story that follows some Chinese mythology and adds a little bit extra to the first book, but not a lot. And you really enjoyed the first book, definitely read it, but yeah, I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, I'm glad I've read it. And yeah, that's it. Right, the next book was a reread, which was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo in preparation for Hellbent. And I read this via audiobook this time around since I read it physically last time. And I still love this. This is still a 5-star read. It is so good, and I can't wait to read Hellbent. Yeah, I just absolutely love this, and I really enjoyed the audiobook. I like the lady who did the narration. I thought she did that really well, and it was good because there was the guy that narrated Darlington's parts as well. So yeah, it was just really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed rereading this one, and yeah, as I said, 5-star, can't wait for the next. Alright, next we read Tress of the Emerald Sea. This is my Brandon Sanderson book for the month of January. And this book of the month, I love this book so much. This was a 5-star read. I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson books before this, so yeah, I thought I would like his books based on what people have been saying about his writing, and the people who really like his books are ones that have very similar tastes to me. So yeah, I thought I would enjoy it, but I did not expect it to be this good. Yeah, I love Tress. I thought she was a great character. I loved the world. The world building in this was phenomenal. I loved the way it was written. There was some cute banter. And yeah, and the magic system was something that was really unique and that I've never seen before and would never even have thought of. But it's like about these spores that fall down from the moon, and there's like 12 different moons. They fall down and create like an ocean, and then people can sail on them like the sea, but it's not water, it's these spores. So they're like moving all the time, and then sometimes they'll just like still, and then ships can't move. So they have to wait until the spores start moving again, and then they can sail through it. So it's kind of like if you have sand. So it reminds me, yeah, of like sand, and then if you, I can't remember what it is, there's like a thing where if you aerate the sand, then you can like move in it. But if you don't have it aerated, it's just like, it's dense. It's kind of like that. And there's all different types of spores depending on which area they're in, and all the spores do different things, and if they get wet, then they like activate. Really unique, really enjoyed it, loved the characters. It was just a cute story. I don't know, I loved it. I absolutely loved everything about the story. I like the fact that it was just a standalone book. It's not like an ongoing series, and the fact that it is like a fully completed story and it didn't feel rushed or anything like that. It was just, yeah, really well done. I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend you pick this book up. I obviously got this through the Kickstarter campaign that Brandon Sanderson did. I really would have loved to have been able to get the like physical hardback collector's editions, but they are super expensive to ship to New Zealand, so that ain't happening. Once these do get published mainstream, which I think is like May for this first one, April, May, then yeah, I would highly recommend picking this up, or you can just pick it up on ebook. I think it's on Amazon already, so yeah, highly recommend it. Alright, second to last book I read was The Book Eaters by Sun Yeo Dean. unfortunately, I can't really say I fully read this because this is my DNF. Yeah, this was one of my most highly anticipated reads last year that I didn't get round to, and I was so excited when I saw this at the library, and I thought, yay, I can finally read it. Yeah, I read the first like quarter of this book and decided it's not for me. It just wasn't going anywhere. I didn't feel attached to any of the characters, especially the main character, and the story was just weird and just didn't feel like it was going anywhere at all. Yeah, so pretty much it's about these people that eat books, so they're not actually humans, and there's like 6 families, and some of them don't eat books, they eat human brains instead. But then there's like something that can help, like some medication or something that they can take which stops them eating human brains and makes them able to eat books instead. And yeah, I can't really explain a lot about what happened in this book because I didn't read it, but I was really disappointed. And yeah, I just didn't enjoy anything about this, unfortunately. So this was a 1 star and it was a DNF, and I'm not sad about not reading the rest of it because I just couldn't see it getting any better, unfortunately. If you did like it and, you know, you think it had a good ending or something, let me know. But from what I've read from other reviews, a lot of people feel the same way. Yeah. I mean, if you did really enjoy it, then that's great for you. But unfortunately, it just did nothing for me, and I have too many other books that I want to read to worry about reading a book that I just wasn't interested in. Normally I don't DNF books either. I'm one of those people who just doesn't really like DNFing. I think I DNF'd 1 last year. This is probably my 2nd DNF ever. I'm kind of the type of person who likes to push through stuff. I mean, I'll DNF a series, like after the first book if I didn't like it, I won't read the next one, but for me to actually DNF a book in the middle of it, it has to be pretty bad. So yeah. Alright, and lastly I read Daughters of the Izhdahr, and this one I got as an ARC book from NetGalley, and I didn't really know what to expect from it, apart from the fact that it had quite a cool magic system. So there's like 4 different like gods, and each one of them had like a different power, and they call it weaving, so it kind of reminds me of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where there's like different types of airbending. So there's like airbending and firebending and earthbending and waterbending. It's like that, but it's called weaving. So there's different types of weavers: earth weavers, fire weavers, water weavers. I found this really interesting because it focused a lot on women's rights. So this is set kind of in like an Indianish sort of inspired world. Reminds me a lot of like Arabian, like Aladdin sort of style times. So women have to be like covered. If they're not, they're like prostitutes, etc. If they're out in like skimpy outfits. And yeah, it's very male dominated is this world. So women don't have any rights. They can't vote, they can't even sign their own marriage contracts. Their parents decide who they're marrying, and they can't go to school unless their dad or their husband or something signs the documents and pays for it. Yeah, it's very heavy. I did really enjoy it though. Just being able to see like these women fighting for what they believe was right, and yeah, it just follows the daughters of Ishtar pretty much. So there's the main character is Nahal, and then there is a second point of view character called Georgina, and the two of them are interlinked for different reasons. They also are both weavers, but different types of weavers, and it's just really interesting seeing their story and how they try to fight for what they believe in. And I did really enjoy the story. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend picking it up. I think this is a duology, so I think there's another one coming out soon, and after that ending I need the second book, because that was an intense end to the story. And it also has like war, and yeah, it's just war, there's politics, there's female rights, there's gay rights as well, and oppression, and yeah, a whole heap of underlying stories within this one main story. And yeah, I enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. Alright, so that is it for this wrap up. If you did like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up as always, and let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these and what you thought, or if there's anything that you are wanting to read. And as always, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos, and I will catch you guys all in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.